How you been today?
I've been pretty good. I'm actually really tired. I had to do a turnaround in work last night and this morning, but I took a nap, so I'm all good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. As good as I can after you called me names in my Instagram comment section.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure that's really gotten to you.
it
But
has actually. I cried myself to sleep last night. Yeah.
well, I could kind of tell because you were pretty quick to the jump of like wanting to debate about being trans, being validity. So
Right.
I mean, it worked. I tried to debate you last week when you brought this up.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of requests coming in, but I'm glad that we have a chance to debate now. So,
Hmm.
you said that being transgender is a mental illness and it's a fetish for trans people to cut their dick off or something. So I don't know, some dumb shit. So do you want
No,
to
that's word for word what I said.
well, okay. At the beginning, I want to make sure I preface with this. If at any point you feel like I am mischaracterizing your arguments, please do not hesitate to call me out because sometimes for me to better understand, I will sort of repeat back to you what I think that you're saying. And if
Right.
you feel that I'm mischaracterizing, then let me know. So I'm assuming from the sarcasm that you feel I have mischaracterized your initial comment.
No, no, I'm being 100% serious.
Oh,
Transgenderism is a mental illness based on a
okay.
perverse fetishism.
Okay.
Mutilating your penis does not change your sex.
Okay. Okay, so do you want to substantiate why you think it's a mental illness?
Uh, I mean, what do you call a person? What else do you call this situation of gender dysphoria?
Well, you said being transgender is a mental illness.
Transgenderism is the downstream of gender dysphoria. I'm pretty sure you know that.
No, that's actually just incorrect. Transgender is defined by denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex.
What's the definition of gender dysphoria? Just so we know that you're really nitpicking here.
I'm not nitpicking anything, but I will pull up the definition. Hold on. Probably hear me typing. I'm in my bedroom right now. Gender dysphoria is the distress a person feels due to a mismatch between their gender identity and their sex assigned at birth.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
I googled that too for you. So how is being transgender in and of itself a mental illness? I used to believe that myself. So I
Yeah, I
mean,
know. It's
yeah,
really pathetic. Your fall
yeah.
from being called out by Vosh on trannies,
I
and
know
now
I know, dude. It
sticking up
sucks,
for
man.
them.
I know.
And
I
now,
know.
ironically, Vosh is calling trannies subhumans. It's wild. 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're correct about that, but you're right, man. I'm cucked.
It's a
Hey,
direct quote.
I have cucked for the data. I have cucked for science, my friend. I know it's very
Yes, you've
tough.
cucked for child sterilization, child
Nope,
abuse.
no, that's
Yes.
just strawmanning my argument entirely. So why don't you let's start with one thing at a time before we start hurling insults at each other. Why is being transgender a mental illness?
Why is it?
Yes.
I mean, this is like obviously a trap question.
No, it's not. I'm asking you to clarify what you said in the Instagram comment, which is that being transgender is a mental illness. This is not a trap question at all. I'm just asking
Well,
you to please
yes.
substantiate your claim.
The idea that a person is going to dictate what they feel their perceived sex is based on pretty much their own thought is the same justification as somebody just going around and saying they're a vigilante because they feel like it. You're not a woman because you feel like a woman.
Okay, well
You're not.
that's a good place to start. So do you recognize the difference between sex and gender?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to define those for me, or do you want me to define those?
No, because it doesn't matter.
Oh no, it,
That,
it,
that's
it
a
does matter.
given.
Actually, it's critical to the
No,
argument.
you think it matters because you've been tricked into a dumb linguistics debate that you obviously lost and now worship in a word of gender ideology. We're not
Um,
going to get into the difference between gender and sex because
no,
it's pointless.
no, it's not pointless. It's important to.
How about this? If you can define male and female,
Why don't you define male and female for me?
sure, a male as what is it, XY chromosomes and female is double X.
So what about intersex people?
They're a drastic minority that's
No, they're
so
not.
small.
Nope. Statistically, actually, they're more common than redheads.
Oh my lord, you're retarded. You're not a very smart individual. I'm going to say that.
You're already hurling insults, and all I've been doing is giving you factual
I'm
information.
I'm giving you a fact that you're not very smart.
Okay, well that's fine. You're completely welcome to feel that way, my friend.
We don't base rules off of exceptions, anyways.
Okay, so are redheads exceptions?
What are you talking about? Is redhead a gender or sex?
No, let me explain what gender.
Redheads is
Let me
is a
explain the
skin
difference
hair
between.
color.
Hold on, let me explain the difference between sex and gender because I know you think this is irrelevant, but it's actually crucial for the argument. Okay, so sex refers, and I'm reading these definitions for you, either of the two main categories, male and female, into which humans and most other living things are divided on the basis of their reproductive functions. So sex refers to biology, all right? Penis, vagina, boobs, hormones, chromosomes, that's sex. Then there's gender, which are social expectations and social roles that are placed on people based on their sexual characteristics. So, if someone says, I identify as a woman, this is why they are a woman. Because gender is a form of identification, man and woman, not male and female, man and woman is a form of identification. So you might have a penis, but be more comfortable in the aligning with the social role or the social expectations that might be accompanied by a woman. It's really that simple.
So femininity and masculinity, that's really cool. You don't base your gender or sex off of those things. That's just what you act in a social setting. There are feminine
No,
men,
that's it's that like
there are
so look
masculine females,
um
that does not
yeah,
mean
but if they don't identify as a woman. So here's the thing is man and woman is a form of
identifying as a woman means that you have woman body parts. You have woman hardware.
well no, not necessarily. I mean the
Yes,
gendered
necessarily.
expectations have changed over
It's
time.
not. No, it. Your retarded ass gender ideology has changed in the past 30 years. Nothing has changed over
No.
time. No one has gotten more woke. More science hasn't uncovered anything. This is
Yes, it
pretty
has.
factual.
You're denying facts right now. You know the
I'm
DSM-5.
denying it.
You know the DSM-5
Definition.
describes gender as a complicated conglomeration of sociological factors and biology, especially when it comes to gender dysphoria. You know that, right? That's the
What's the
DSM-5.
cool?
Conservatives love to
I'm
bring up
not
the
a
DSM-5
conservative.
also.
You fucking retard.
Oh, I'm not saying that you're a conservative.
Who cares?
I'm saying
This is
generally
so,
speaking.
like you're arguing about complete definitions from what I said was going to be a trap argument that I didn't care about. I was arguing about trans validity,
Okay,
not
well then
gender.
let's the reason, but here's the thing is if we're going to argue about trans validity, we have to first recognize the difference between sex and gender. They are two different things.
Why?
They meet because
We have to build a perfect foundation for your
because
straw stupid argument to
no, we
stand
have
on.
to this is why we need
Otherwise, then we can't talk about how the downside of the effects of accepting transgender people.
we will get
And
to that. I want to talk
mm,
to that for I want to talk to you about all of those things. But first, we have to recognize the difference between sex and gender because they are two different things. That's like saying why would
I
we
agreed to this already.
so you agree that gender and sex are different.
Yeah, you can pull up your recording. I agreed to this immediately because I didn't want to go down this path.
Okay,
This is
so
stupid.
then if someone identifies as a woman and they work to kind of align with the social expectations and social roles that are usually associated with a woman, why are they not a woman?
You just answered it because they were not born a woman. They are a feminine man.
Okay, so what's a woman?
A woman is somebody with XX chromosomes.
Okay, again, this
Ovaries,
is
vagina.
literally we're going to go down the same path. What about intersex people? There are women who have XY
What
chromosomes.
about them?
Because
If
there are
they want to, they can do
no because
whatever
there
they
are women
want.
there are women who have
No,
XY
they are a
chromosomes.
small minority of people that are not going to dictate the world stage for everyone else.
You realize that even if they
And they
are a
haven't.
small minority,
And
which
you
you're
know what? They
statistically wrong
haven't.
about, but
Okay. You know what? Let's really get into it. How come there's so many men invading women-only spaces? How come it only seems to be transgender women that are trying to invade the spaces of women, such as men going to prisons, domestic abuse shelters? How do you answer that? These are
what do
men that
you
identify
mean?
as women. Do you think this is okay? Do you think this is a logical step forward?
Well,
This is
you're really
progression.
jumping all around. I want to talk about where you feel that there's a harm for accepting trans people, but
Sure.
we first
Sure.
need
Go.
to
I
we
just did. No, we don't. Why don't you go ahead and tell me why so many men are trying to invade women only spaces? through the
w-
guise of transgenderism.
what do you mean? Like,
I
can
just
you
gave
give me a
several
source
examples.
for that?
No, but what source? It's called reality. You
Okay.
can leave your bedroom and check out the window.
All right, all right, all right. Calm down, buddy. I know you're mad right now, but we've barely even
I'm
started
not
talking.
mad. I'm annoyed.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
doing your whole stupid Vosh type debating of first we have to define. Why don't you
this
explain
isn't
to
a
me why
Vosh
we
type
have to
debate.
sit?
This is how people debate. I prefer to define our terms before we continue going on. All
Sure,
right?
I agree to your terms. You cannot define gender, or you can define gender, but you can't define sex because you
That's not
rely
true.
on
That's not true.
a
I defined
hand.
sex at the beginning.
Okay, yeah, and you aren't willing to go through about because of a couple intersex people, a very vast
No,
minority
if there,
compared
you
to the
realize
numbers
that
of
if there's
males.
even a single difference or
Oh
a
no,
single like a change,
well
that
we have
means
to.
that it's not a strict binary. I mean, even scientists even agree that sex is bimodal, right? So,
No, they don't.
yes, they do. I can send you some sources if you'd like.
I'm not reading your dumb Jew propaganda.
Oh, okay. Wow. So we really got, wow. So we have a really interesting guy here. All right. That's great. Yeah, no, I know it's really easy for you to be able to write off any data that contradicts what you how strongly you feel about this issue when you can just say that it's by the Jews. I know it's very convenient for you. But all right, let's move on to the next
Fact.
let's move on to let's see. So, trans people having a mental illness. A mental illness is defined by people, like by a condition which sort of hinders your everyday life, right? So,
Have you
people,
talked to any trans people?
well, yes, there's social stigma that can play a very serious role and make trans people feel terrible, but
Yes,
that's not
everyone has a
because they
social
are,
stigma now. That sucks.
well,
They
yes,
have to
that's
get over
also
it.
supported by the data. Actually, I can pull some of that up for you as well. Give me a second.
Don't care.
Well, I care because I care about data and I care about truth, which you clearly do not. So, give me a
You
second here.
care. That's why you want to stick to
Ah,
some
here we go.
specific points.
These are there's a longitudinal study which indicates transgender people have a lower quality of life than the general population. Okay? And this raises dramatically with gender affirming treatment. This is from a actual government study. Here you go. This is from the US National Library of Medicine. Wow, I know that probably is made by the Jews or something. But here's a quality of life treatment seeking transgender adults, a systematic review and meta analysis. So, yes, transgender people oftentimes have a more difficult time in life because of a social stigma that's associated with being transgender and with people.
Yeah, so do black people. So do Latinos. So do poor
Sure,
people.
sure, yeah. And being black isn't a mental illness.
It's also not a choice.
Okay, well, that's again, we're getting off subject a little bit. You say it's a mental illness, but being transgender does not hinder someone's life or affect them in a way that's directly related to them being transgender. So it is not a mental illness. That is factually incorrect. The World Health Organization has even stopped classifying transness as a mental illness.
They also have completely left China alone to deal with possibly the worst pandemic we're going to see in our lives. So, do you really want to trust the World Health Organization?
Yes, I want to trust them on this issue for sure. Do you have any data you'd like to counter with, or do you want to just, make a snide little remark?
41% suicide rate. Children going through castration.
Children are not going through castration. That's false.
Children going through chemical castration because they watched Frozen and liked it, and now their mom
Nope,
wants
that's
to
also false. Well,
That never
you are
happened.
really getting all off subject, my friend. So let's try to stay at one subject at a time. All right, I want to talk to you about transgender people having a mental illness. You've said the suicide rate is higher, and you're right. That's because of discrimination and because of stigma that transgender people face. And you know what? The data
I don't
actually
know.
shows.
It
Hold on,
seems to
hold
link
on.
up
Wait,
with
wait, 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 wait.
mental
Hold up, hold up, hold up.
illness.
Can you not interrupt me, please? The data.
No, because you're always talking. If I never interrupted you, I wouldn't get a chance to
All
make
right, what
my
do you have to
point
say?
across.
What do you have to say? Go ahead.
It links up more that the mental illness is drastically high in transgender people. You have to admit there's a big correlation overlap of if you
Yeah.
made a Venn diagram of trannies mental illness, it would be damn near a circle.
Yeah, trans people do suffer from a lot of mental illness. They have anxiety, depression, and they have a higher suicide rate. Do you want to know what the data says to how to fix that?
I don't know. I bet it's probably chopping off their dicks and telling them that they're beautiful, isn't it?
Well, it is going through gender affirming treatment.
Oh yeah. Call me.
So
Oh man, that's crazy. That's so cool. You know
yeah,
what
yeah,
else
I
we
know
should
you're
do?
so
We should.
smart. You're
Yeah,
so
thanks.
smart. I'm
If
honestly blown
only I
away
could
by how
read
smart you
the
are.
data and the
There's a
definitions
longitudinal
and just
study
read them,
actually. Hold
spit
on.
them out. I don't care about your stupid ass study. Should
Well,
we
then how
give
do you form
opioid
opinions on
addicts?
anything? If you don't care about studies, if you don't care about data, how do you literally form an opinion?
I don't know. My gut reaction is usually what I go with. I don't know about
So
you.
okay, so I'm glad that you've admitted that you literally form your opinion based on feelings. That's really great. But
No,
I
I
like to
said
form
gut. I said gut, not feelings.
that it okay, we're not going to start debating on whether or not a gut feeling is a feeling or a gut instinct or whatever. But I
Are you
again,
sure?
I prefer to
Are you
form.
aware that 90% of the information transferred from your gut to your brain, or transferred is from your gut to your brain? All of your hormones secreting, basically all of your body
I
homeostasis
actually don't know
is
right
done
now
by
if
your
you're I
gut.
don't know if you're trolling me right now or not.
Not trolling you at all.
Okay,
Because
so
like
I
you're
prefer to
lying
form
about
my
it.
opinions based on data, and I have data again. Let me go to the source here. This comes from the, again, National Library of Medicine. All right. This is a systematic review and meta analysis of transgender people, which found this longitudinal study indicates that transgender people have a lower quality of life than the general population. However, that quality of life raises dramatically with gender affirming treatment. Here's another study over here from Cornell University. This is actually an enormous meta analysis on transgender people and the effect of gender transition on their mental health. Of the 56 studies, 52 indicated transitioning has a positive effect on the mental health of transgender people, and 4 indicated it had mixed or no results. 0 studies indicated gender transitioning has negative results. So you want to say that being trans is a mental illness, which is factually incorrect, but having gender dysphoria it is a mental illness. I agree because it really affects your life and makes your life miserable. So if transitioning is proven by the data to be the best option for trans people, what's wrong with them transitioning?
Because it's setting a precedent that it's just normal and it's not Frankenstein plastic surgery that is now being done to children.
Again, you keep bringing up children. This isn't being done to children.
Who is Jazz Jennings then, retard? Are you fucking joking me?
I
Or do
mean,
you really have your head
how
that
how
far up your
old is
ass?
Jazz Jennings? I've like heard of her once. Hold on. Let's see. She's 19.
When did she transition?
I
Or
don't
he,
know, but I can
sorry.
go through the process of that as well, since you seem to be really set on reliant on fear mongering. So
Fear
here's what
mongering,
oftentimes
not just reality. What do you think is going to happen?
okay, wait, hold on, because you're trying to ignore data right now, but how do we decide
I'm
what reality
ignoring your
is?
stupid fucking studies that are done to mentally ill people by people that obviously are pushing an agenda for more
No,
trannies.
that's
To
not
say,
true. That's literally not
no,
true.
it's not true. If we just gave people that were addicted to a drug the drug that they wanted, and then they told us it would work, this is a fucking good ass study.
No, because
The
drugs harm
glaring
people.
results that
Hold
most of
on,
these people
because
are still
drugs harm people, and going through a gender
harming.
transition
What's
does not
harming?
harm
Why
people.
don't we define? No, what is what? Although sex
Wait.
reassignment surgery is literally the medical definition of mutilation, it doesn't harm them.
So should
You're
people not? Do you think
you're
that people shouldn't have like get plastic surgery for other reasons?
no, definitely not.
Okay, so you're like, so are you full on authoritarian? Like, what's your political alignment?
I don't know. I don't vote.
Okay, so I mean, like, do you want to actually prohibit trans people from seeking treatment?
Yeah, they
Okay.
need mental help.
Again, that is factually incorrect. I can go to another study for you if you want. I'm gonna keep giving you data because you're so
I want
mad over here and you're so fucking triggered over the fact that data contradicts what your
more
gut
just
feelings
annoyed.
are.
Okay, I'm just more annoyed that you think I like some stupid arguments that has been shared and politicized is going to change my opinion. When you can't answer the simple fact that trans women are just men invading women's spaces and why we should allow that.
Okay,
Why is
so
that
why?
okay? Why should we sit by for these spaces
Sure,
that have been formed in pretty much the past like 2 decades?
sure. I will be
Domestic
happy to
abuse
answer that question for you.
shelters, places that, battered women shelters.
I know,
These
like
prisons.
bathrooms, women's bathrooms, and all that. I know. Let me go here and look
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Let's mock battered women with
No, I
talking
said
about
no, no, no,
women's
no, no. I said
bathrooms.
women's
Fucking idiot.
bathrooms. I did not mock anyone. All right, now hold on. I'm pulling up some more spooky data for you. All right, here we go. This is a study, Springer Link, done in 2018, on the gender identity non-discrimination laws in public accommodations, a review of evidence regarding safety and privacy in public restrooms, locker rooms, and changing rooms. And again, I want to just
That's
clarify
not what
that
I was talking about at all.
these are
I
women's
was talking about
spaces.
no, that's a bathroom, locker room, and public spaces. I'm talking about women's private spaces,
What do you mean by
spaces
that?
that
Can you elaborate?
battered women's shelters, women's prisons. You
Like
obviously
where are
can tell what
men
I'm.
coming into these
Where are trans women going into those spaces?
yeah.
Those are men. They are still men, whether you want to define them as that or not. Why
Okay,
should
but
why why should people have to sit by what or women
well
or
this
trans
here
women in
here
sports as well? I mean,
okay.
that's an obvious glaring biological reality that you're just ignoring because you want to make a few people that want to feel special feel better.
Well, let me try to answer one thing at a time. Okay? So,
Okay, finally,
I don't have data on anything to do with like
you can't use your fucking head here. Can you think for yourself, or do you need to
um
study to see if a man going into a woman's prison is a good idea?
okay, so a man going into women's prisons, again, I just don't have data on that. The closest thing I have is a data point about the safety and privacy and like restrooms, locker rooms, because that's originally what started with the whole thing. And I can tell you right here
Yeah, it
that it
started with
says,
that.
let's
Yeah.
see here. Opponents of gender identity inclusive public accommodations, non discrimination laws often cite fear of safety and privacy violations, which is what you're doing now,
So
which
we
is
should
fine. And again,
so we
I
shouldn't
used to be the
believe
same.
women.
I used to
We
believe the same
shouldn't
thing.
believe women. No, no, you used to have a brain, but you're a fucking retard now.
This study presents findings from matched pair. Da, 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 da. Additionally, the study finds that reports of privacy and safety violations at public restrooms, locker rooms, and changing rooms are exceedingly rare. This study provides evidence that fears of increased safety and privacy violations as a result of non discrimination laws are not empirically grounded. So the data is in, my friend, for when we allow what you would say a man dressing up as a woman to use women's spaces. And it doesn't really seem to be a problem. It's not really hurting anyone. In fact, actually, if you want to talk about trans people going to the prison of their choice, you know, trans women in male prisons are actually far more likely to be abused. Same with trans women using the male bathroom. They're more likely to actually be they're more likely to be victims of abuse.
That's crazy. Damn, I can't believe that. Fucking weirdos that want to chop off their dicks are more likely to get bullied in male spaces. That's crazy.
I know, because
Um,
I know you think you're very smart right now, but you haven't provided a single data point and instead made a bunch of like snide,
no,
stupid little remarks.
yeah, yeah, I'm really losing this one. You got me.
You
So
are. You haven't. You
Let's go
haven't
on
proved a
to
single point.
yeah, because I didn't fucking pull out NCBI to look at a bunch of Jewish statistics and go like, look, N is 3 here.
These
So 3
people just
got
can't. You can't be reasoned with. I almost feel sorry for people like you. I mean, you're so caught up in your own little feelings, and you call everyone else triggered. But like, why are you so triggered by the existence of trans people? Like, why
because
are you
they're
so triggered by
abominations.
this?
They're abominations, and they're the most fucking annoying people on the planet.
Okay, well, I would say you're probably one of the most annoying fucking people on the planet. But that's aside the point. Again, I don't want to get all petty into these little, arguments. Do you want to move on to transgender kids? Because you keep on bringing that one up too.
Yeah, I want to hear how this isn't harm or child abuse. This is
Sure. So here's
a
usually
lot.
what happens when children exhibit signs of being gender dysphoric. Okay. Again, I will pull up my data on this. Here we are. So children are not being chemically castrated or being put on some kind of permanent hormones or having their dicks chopped off or whatever you may have heard from like Steven Crowder or something.
Let me. I learned this from a really smart guy I know. So just so I hear your argument correctly, I'm going to repeat it back to you to make sure that you're saying this on record. Is they're not chemically castrating children, and they're not mutilating their genitals, right?
As far as I know, no. However, if I'm incorrect, I would be happy to see some data on that.
I mean, yeah, sure. Jazz Jennings is a very popular trans star. In
Okay.
fact, had a reality TV show on E or VH1 with millions of views per week, and now her life is miserable because of her sex reassignment surgery. And a
Okay,
lot of the
so
doctors are
that's
all
an anecdote where I can
okay.
actually tell you what. Let me.
Okay, let's cool. Let's talk about a study. I'm gonna finish my story.
Okay.
So, why is it all the doctors that are now reviewing this are unanimously saying we do not know the effects going forward of using these types of methods on children, and we should just trust them and hope that we're not just sending a kid down a butcher's knife
Mm-hmm.
for no reason, irreversible, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
just because of a decision they made as a child. We don't allow children to, we can't let them vote.
Mm-hmm.
They don't consent to sex, but they can
Mm-hmm.
consent to changing theirs.
Okay, so
It's weird where you're willing to draw the line on this,
well, no,
where
that's actually a really good question. And the thing is again, I want to keep reiterating that like I used to believe a lot of the same things that you believe now. So I understand
now you
where the
don't believe in anything, so you may
right,
as
yeah,
well
yeah,
admit you can't
exactly.
be right.
Except here I am actually arguing with data and while you're telling stories. But anyway,
Right, you're an
here's
atheist, right?
here's what actually happens with when children exhibit signs of gender dysphoria. Oftentimes children are put on puberty blockers, and what puberty blockers do is they temporarily it's exactly how they sound. They temporarily put a pause on puberty to give some time for the child to consider and continue going through.
You can't just put a pause on puberty like that. You don't
Yes, you
you
can.
can't
Puberty
just
blockers are
not
actually
like
yeah,
that.
puberty blockers are pretty safe. Of course, listen, of course,
They're
like
pretty safe.
yeah,
Do you even
with
know what the
any
fuck you're talking about?
yes, I'm reading this from Mayo Clinic actually.
What's okay, before Googling anything, what's HPTA?
I don't know.
Okay. So you don't know anything about the endocrine system, but you know that puberty blockers are safe, right?
Well, I'm can
That's
I
what you're saying.
can you let me finish a
I just want.
point
No,
here?
no, no, no. I'm making a quick point. You're saying you don't know anything about endocrinology, but you think puberty blockers are 100% safe.
I don't know that what that yeah, I don't know what you're referring to there.
You don't know what endocrinology is. You don't know what your hormonal system is. You fucking know a lot about studies, but you don't know basic biology.
Well, yeah, I'm
And
not a
that's kind of
scientist, so I like to trust what scientists and doctors are saying for the most part. So let me try to break down what actually happens, okay? And I can tell you this right now. So the possible, let's see, hold on, I'm trying to find this. Give me a second here.
take your time. You're gonna have to read a book after this.
All right, so here's the criteria for children to begin puberty blockers, okay? They need to show a long lasting and intense pattern of gender nonconformity or gender dysphoria. They have to have gender dysphoria that began or worsened at the state of puberty. You have to address any psychological, medical, or social problems that could interfere with treatment. And you need provided informed consent. So, what that looks like is a child might begin showing signs of gender dysphoria. So, they meet with a therapist and they meet with a doctor for a pretty good amount of time, to make sure that this is possibly a good option. And then they are put on puberty blockers, which are temporary and for the most part harmless. Like any medication, there could be side effects. Absolutely. I'm not denying that. Nothing is 100% perfect. I'm on medication for anxiety and it has side effects as well. However, for the most part, puberty blockers have been proven to be safe and
Did you start your medication in 2017?
no.
Yeah.
Why?
No, that's just when you really took a weird turn of not being able to not make a fool of yourself. But continue.
All right. So what happens is, let me read this to you. These are the benefits of puberty blockers. Okay. So here we go back to the gender dysphoria. All right. It's a feeling of discomfort or distress, and this will help improve mental well-being. It can reduce depression and anxiety. It can improve social interactions and integration with other kids. It'll eliminate the need for future surgeries. You don't want people to mutilate themselves, so there you go. And reduce thoughts or actions.
Better just fuck with their nervous system.
Reduce thoughts or actions related to self-harm. So that looks like a kid would be put on puberty blockers, given some time to consider, because if a child is transgender, right, and they have gender dysphoria and then they go through the wrong puberty, that will greatly affect them in long term, and it'll raise.
Just think about it. If the kid went through the never be able to have kids after becoming transgender. can't believe you fucking listen to yourself and don't fucking like you just can't get it, bro. Oh my lord.
I'm gonna wait till you're finished.
Okay, it's gonna be a second.
So what's your solution then? Because puberty blockers have been proven pretty
Femicide.
much safe. Hold on, actually one more thing before I.
Okay, no, I already gave you my answer. I'm not looking for the rest of your argument.
Okay,
I've
wait, what
already
was your
given
answer? I didn't hear your answer.
Femicide.
What?
Pimozide.
What is that?
It's a drug used in gender dysphoric patients that gets them to stop transitioning. Guess what? They don't commit suicide after.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you send me over some data on that? Because I've never heard of that. I'd be very curious to take a look at it.
Yeah, sure. I'll pull it up after this.
Okay. So what happens anyway with the puberty blockers is they're not permanent. It doesn't cause permanent changes. And did you know that puberty blockers have actually been used for kids in the past for issues unrelated to transgenderism? Sometimes kids actually have problems where they begin puberty too early. So they've been put on puberty blockers just to, make it so that their puberty begins at a normal time. But all that really happens with puberty blockers is it gives them that kind of a longer window to decide, is this something I want? Is this something I don't want? Because there are studies also that show sometimes trans people just grow out of it, right? So you don't want to do anything permanent, and that's why kids are not doing anything permanent. And then from that point on, they can decide if they want to continue treatment or if they want to just go back to their regular puberty, and then that's it. That's the end of it. They go off the puberty blockers and their puberty returns to normal.
So you truly just believe this is something that you can just decide on a whim, just walk in and out of?
No, you can't just decide this in a whim. Nope, you can't decide this just on a whim. Not at all.
Well,
That's
no,
why.
it's just like you literally just said a second ago, like, if they decide not to, then they're back to their original.
Well,
Like,
okay, obviously I'm oversimplifying a little bit. If the best you can do is get me on a semantic, then you're not doing too well. But yes, first you go into the doctor and you
start. Let's clarify. You started the debate on semantics, so
what was the semantics I began the debate on?
Your dumbass gender sex trap arguments.
It's it's funny for someone who's like so scared of facts. Like you think that basic research.
Terrified of facts.
Yeah, dude. Look, I mean, this whole time you've been just like crying and raging over here, and I've been putting facts over feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings. I don't know if you've ever heard that one before, but it's true. So, yeah, a child will meet with a doctor for a long period of time.
Tell that to a tranny.
Okay, so do you want to continue arguing, or are you just going to sit here and shit sling the whole time? Because I'm actually honestly, trying to have a discussion with you here.
If I hear the word data or study once more, I'm gonna get homicidal. So if we're gonna have to actually have a discussion here and not just say like.
Okay, well then if you hold on, because if
all you're doing is the equivalent of Facebook fighting of, here, look at this link. No, look at this link. No, look at this link. I want to hear what Hunter thinks, and Hunter can't even think for himself. So
that's not true. My thoughts on this issue are
that first question that I asked.
Sure.
Of why is it men always invading the safe spaces of women, the private spaces of women, under the guise of being a trans woman?
I just don't know what you mean by that.
Why is it never trans men? Women invading male spaces. It's very obviously every trans kerfuffle in public, you could call it. You have that one person that wanted to get his balls waxed.
Jessica Yaniv?
Yeah.
Yeah, that person's a retard.
Woman, oh damn, that's crazy. But it always seems to be the case, doesn't it, of a trans woman really pushing the bounds. No one really cared about women going into the men's bathroom for some unbeknownst reason, just because, the sexes and genders are equal. So if a woman wanted to use the men's bathroom, it would be totally fine. It wasn't until the men wanted to use the women's bathroom, that's when people were like, oh, that's weird. Almost like it's an innate thing of like a normal person would want to, protect the females versus you that wants to not offend anybody.
You sound like such a cock right now, dude. What's this? What you want to like defend the females? You sound like such a beta, dude. Are you sure you're not a coomer? Because this is some beta shit right here.
Damn.
Like what do you mean like defend the females from what? Where's the harm?
What do you mean? You have these perverse people that are being fueled by fetishism.
Yeah, and if a man goes into a woman's bathroom and rapes the woman, rape is illegal. and she'll and
If
he will go to
if
prison.
we just accept that men that say that they're women and just believe them, and they invade a woman's prison or a battered women's shelter where people are actually in danger, not just public spaces like your stupid ass bathroom argument,
Hmm.
like actually the real world where fucking like people have problems, and this only affects the lowest class of
You're
women
actually
too.
you're actually not entirely correct here because you know a lot
Oh
of
no, I'm not entirely correct because I actually have a study here. If you look, let's go. Let's hear it.
because a lot of actually
What
a
do you
lot
have?
of like these women's shelters deny trans women
Good,
access to those shelters, and that's one of the reasons
good,
why trans people are oftentimes like
good,
homeless or victims of
good,
abuse.
good. They should go to men's shelters then. They should stop trying to be around women.
Well, see, that's the problem. Is see when trans women go to a men's prison or a men's shelter, they have a higher risk of being abused than the trans person
No.
has. Than
Darn. We should
they're
just throw away
much more like
we
they're
should
much
just
more
throw
likely
away
to
women.
abuse.
We should just throw away women. We should just, fuck them.
What are you
Because
talking about right now?
trans men are going to feel bad. God.
What are you talking about right now? You're jumping all around. You sound like a complete idiot. Trans women are far more likely to be abused than they are to be abusers. Again, this is statistically proven.
That's not entirely true. If you
Okay.
look at domestic spousal abuse rates, I'm pretty sure that's actually at like 100% wrong.
Okay. So what's your overall point here? Like I don't see the harm. Where's the harm with this?
What do you mean? We've discussed the danger that it leads to women, the danger that it poses to children. That you think it's nothing. You don't know the first thing about your hormone system. But you think that like some medication can just pause your life cycle.
Yeah, it can pause puberty,
You
and they're
you
used
have
for
so
issues
much.
outside of transgenderism as well.
That's great, dude. They should stick to that.
So do you think you
They
know more than
shouldn't.
a doctor?
Yeah, most times, yeah.
Are you an anti-vaxxer?
It depends on the what you mean. I mean, like
Like, do
flu
you
vaccine. Yeah.
vaccine? Do you get vaccinated, or I know it's unrelated. I was just kind of wondering.
I don't get the flu vaccine. No.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, again, like you haven't really demonstrated where the harm of accepting trans people is.
I mean, I did. You just neglected to face reality. You said, "Oh,
No,
these
I
are
have not
small
at all
things."
neglected to face reality. I've looked at what the studies say, and it looks like it's not really a danger.
Okay.
That's like, hold on, like, listen to how stupid you sound. This is like me saying, let me think here. So, you know how people have ovens in their homes? You know how people have like stoves, like they cook things, right? Everyone that has a stove in their house is likely to burn their house down with it. And then you can look up studies that show actually no. People who have ovens, I'm just making shit up, by the way, for the sake of an example. No,
You're
people who have
explaining causation versus correlation. Great. Cool.
people who have ovens in their home, actually the data just shows it's not actually that big of a danger. So what's wrong with having ovens in your home? And you're just like no, if we do it then more people will get hurt because I feel that way. Like that's what you're saying right now.
Okay. I guess we'll just continue to let men dominate women's sports because they want to.
You keep actually, you know what, the trans sports issue is definitely the most complicated of topics for sure. I think
Definitely,
that
because it actually is on display right in front of you. But
yeah, well, I
no,
think
you're
no,
right. It's
I
just
think I don't think the trans
nobody
sports are very
knows
good.
what
Actually, I don't think that someone should at all be able to just say that they identify as a woman and then just compete against women because there is a biological difference there, and that would be very an unfair advantage to women. In reality, what should be the case is trans people need to be on hormones for a good amount of time before they can actually compete in the sport that aligns with their gender identity. And the reason for that is because after you're on hormones for a while, it actually it really does wreck your muscle mass, and it reduces testosterone, and it actually puts you in a range where you will be more fit to compete against biological females or
You
whatever
have
or whatnot.
no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do. That's again,
No,
I'm going based on the
I'm
research.
going off of personal experience.
And that's the shitty way to go about things.
Really, you've
Yes,
inundated
that's
your
a
body.
stupid way to go about things. By that logic, you could prove or disprove anything.
And That's what I plan to do. So you've inundated your body with enough hormones to feel what it's like to be a woman, or feel like what
Well,
it's
no, if
like to
you
be a better person.
no.
Like you don't know anything about hormones effects on the body to the point that you think a man's muscle mass could ever match a female's just based off hormones. You
Well,
act
if
like
they're on
estrogen
hormones,
kills
usually like
muscles.
well, what
You know,
I
estrogen is one of the best hormones to make your muscle mass grow, along with
really,
IGF-1.
really.
Like you can't even like you when I said your gut, my gut, I was talking about feelings. You're that stupid. You don't even know about your fucking gut microbiome. You're talking about hormones on children, puberty blockers. You don't even know the basics about endocrinology. You're a joke.
Well, that's because I'm not really a scientist or a
No,
doctor.
you're
So yeah,
not. This is what I went to school for, you fucking retard. Your hypothalamus pituitary testes axis doesn't recover after puberty blockers. You would need something like HCG, which you're not going to administer to a child.
well,
Like,
I mean, I would like to see some information on that. That's just not what the data is saying, my friend.
sure. How about this? You have a huge following on YouTube. Why don't you actually go take a class on hormones? Go take a good endocrinology for beginners class, and then walk out of it and be like, yeah, you know what? We can play God. We can do
So
it.
this is the equivalent of like go educate yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, like literally learn the basics and not the language. This
Okay.
is why you changed your opinion, because you got beaten so badly by SJWs in a debate because you couldn't fucking define your way out of it, that you're like, you know what, they're just right. We just have to go along with it. I can't even do the basics and look into like how hormones affect the body, how high estrogen levels and the effects that it has on depression, anxiety, and mental illness will make a man probably do anything, including chop his dick off for attention.
Well,
You couldn't
again,
even
it's
do
not for
this.
attention because you see
Okay,
you keep
because
trying to make a point and then you keep getting all like hyperbolic and you end up sounding really stupid.
that's why transgender people definitely aren't the most flamboyant and annoying out of all of the LGBT, right?
Not all of
It's
them
not for
are.
attention. It's not all of them. We gotta
Oh, hold on.
keep
Wait, stop. Because if we're able to go by personal experience, I've actually met trans people who are very nice and kind, normal people. So I guess you're wrong, dude. Because that's literally the same way that you're trying to argue from personal experience. Based on my understanding, when a man begins taking hormones to biologically transition into a woman, that reduces their muscle mass, obviously, and it changes many variations of their body. The specifics I am not aware of. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so I would not comment on something I'm not too familiar with. However, it would not make sense for a person who is biologically male to say, I'm a female, and then begin competing against women. That would be unfair, and that would be, they would have an unfair advantage. So I think that it would not be appropriate for the trans person to compete against women until after they have been on hormones for a long enough time that their muscle mass is more comparable.
that time is infinite. It will never be comparable. Otherwise, you would just have weight classes and have men and women just be in the same weight class. It is never going to happen.
Okay, so let's get back to where the harm is then. Where's the harm of accepting trans people?
Dude, I straight.
Well, hold on, wait, because these have been your arguments so far. Children, which no kid is being forced to transition or something. Kids are going through, kids are sometimes put on puberty blockers, which puts a temporary pause on puberty, and then they're able to get off of it. It's no big deal.
Reversible.
It is reversible. Yes, it is. You're lying right now.
Find one study that says it.
Sure. I'm finding you right now.
Thanks.
Let's see. Okay. Are the changes permanent?
Fully
MayoClinic.org. Are the
fully reversible?
Yes. Use of GnRH. All right. Gonadotropin releasing hormone.
Yeah, you know that's what they use to chemically castrate prisoners.
Well, maybe at a certain dosage. I don't know all of these things. No. But anyway, I'm going off of what this is saying from Mayo Clinic. Using these hormones doesn't cause permanent changes in an adolescent's body. Instead, it pauses puberty, providing time to determine if a child's gender identity is long-lasting. It also gives children and their families time to think about or plan for the psychological, medical, development, social, and legal issues ahead. If an adolescent child stops taking these, puberty will resume. So yeah, you're factually incorrect. So nothing is really harmful for kids going on puberty blockers, and it would be far more harmful
You're really
to prevent them.
You're going to. I just want to preface here. You just read the drug that they use to chemically castrate prisoners, and
Hmm.
said that you read the abstract for it and tried to sound smart, and you want to go on and say that it is completely reversible and it's just totally fine to give willy nilly, because it can be, it's just a pause. It doesn't, while growth plates are forming, while the skeletal
Well, I looked it up here, and it looks like
skeleton.
it's a mix of other drugs as well. So yeah, no doubt about it that they're like, I'm sure that there's, that's like saying anesthesia kills people. Well, no, it doesn't. You can go on it with a certain dosage, and it actually is
No, it's
fine.
not.
That's like you
No,
could
it's
say,
not. It's not. It's not like that at all. NHNRH specifically founded for that purpose. It's not like you they found
no,
out like
this is
it's not like they made it to make kids become girls and then they're like, you know what, we can use it on pedophiles too. Two birds, one stone. Like it's again and again. If you knew what the
so what
HPTD
is
was,
it actually? Hold on. What this is
I
it's
know
the
exactly
that
what it
releasing
is.
hormone with a few other ones as well. Okay, so based on just administering that, just this, I'm trying to get the word right, gonadotropin releasing hormone, that does not enact permanent changes. And again, it would be far
It
more dangerous for.
literally it literally atrophies your testicles.
It puts a pause on puberty. Yes, yes,
It,
that's
it
what this says right here. You're right. Actually, you're not. You're right. These are sexual organs.
right. Ah, damn, that's crazy.
These are the physical changes in the body that typically appear. Yeah, so I mean, it literally puts a pause on puberty. Okay, so
I
that's
got
the
no
first
problem.
thing. That's the first thing that is, again, not proven to harm really anyone. I forget what your other issue was. There are men going into women's spaces or something, which,
Yeah,
again,
it
there's no
doesn't
data to
matter.
really support that either. And
Right.
then, what was your other one, too? I can't remember
The
now.
mental illness thing. You
Oh, right,
got
that it's
me.
a mental illness, despite the
You
fact that
got me.
literally zero medical institutions agree with you. Right.
Right.
Okay, great. So, do you want to just admit that your opinion on trans people are based on feelings? Because then at
No.
least we could talk about it.
No. It's not based on feelings at all. It's based on instinct that these people are degenerate creeps.
Okay.
But do you want to go ahead and say that you completely threw away God because you lost an internet debate 3 years ago?
What are you even referring to?
That's you're an atheist now, aren't you?
I kind of consider myself agnostic. Like I think there could be a God. I'm just not too sure, clear on it yet.
Okay. And this whole becoming a gay libertarian type thing after that is kind of part and parcel with that. I don't know. It's just
No,
it's
I
crazy.
actually became more of an atheist like the beginning of 2017.
So that was 3 years ago.
Yes. Yep. And my
Like this.
opinions on trans issues specifically changed because I saw this data and because I did more research and I couldn't I just realized that I was sort of thinking with my feelings when it came to trans issues.
No, you were thinking logically. You got tricked into believing that you were wrong by a bunch of facts. That's all
Okay.
that
Well, yeah, I
happened.
mean, you're welcome to feel that way.
It's pretty obvious, man.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome to feel that way. That's what makes America great. Is everyone has freedom to do what they want with their own feelings or their own bodies.
That's why it's great.
Yeah.
All right, man. This was a good talk. Thanks for this. When can I look for it going up? Try
Um
not to edit it too much. I want all my responses to be
oh no, don't
pretty
worry. This won't be
concise.
edited. I think that you did enough for just talking to yourself. But I will I'm not sure when this will be up. I always record it though just to be safe. And I'll let you know if I post it, I'll send you a link, all right?